Hey, welcome back to another video. Once again, time for some DCX Sonic Metal Legion, my favorite time of the month. This time we have issue 4 in front of us, and I have to say right off the bat, unfortunately I come bearing some mixed opinions this time around. Mostly positive, just to get that out of the way. This story hasn't, completely blown it suddenly, but I'm feeling a little more complicated things than I have the previous issues where I was basically just going, oh my god, ain't this really cool, guys. There's still a lot of that, but just some things I've got more mixed feelings on, and we'll get into that when we get to it. Like always, while I'm not discussing every single little plot point here, there are going to be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, click off, read the issue, and then come back. But if you don't care about spoilers, then, well, you're not going to do that. Stick around, and we'll just get right into it. Coming right off the end of the last issue, where Eggman just completely owned the Legion of Doom and did nothing but really cool shit the entire time, this issue does still have some of that. A lot of it is Eggman fighting, Sonic and his pals in the League, and honestly doing pretty good in a hand-to-hand fight. Yeah, he's got the Lex, power suit thing to back him up, but I mean, the dude catches a punch from Superman and is completely unfazed by it, which is awesome. And he brings up that he perfected the armor that Lex built that could stand up to Superman, so it's not surprising, I guess, that he's able to do that, but it's still just an incredible moment after the previous crossover showed Eggman's one interaction with Superman, where he was just completely trounced. So to be able to see Eggman stand up to one of the strongest characters in, fiction ever is pretty crazy. And in general, him being able to stand up against just the Justice League is pretty wild. He's not normally a hand-to-hand fighting kind of guy, so this is a rare instance of Eggman doing that, and it's pretty cool all around. There's this really, really great splash page, or a 2-page spread of Eggman and Superman punching each other that might be the thumbnail, even though I've seen another video talking about this issue using it, so I don't know. While the rest of the League avoids these, portable portal things that Eggman has that are firing laser beams and redirecting attacks back at other members of the League, which is pretty neat. So I like that we're still seeing Eggman be, hyper competent and being a legit threat. Where things get a little bit more complicated with my opinions on this has to do with the titular Metal Legion. The series is named after them, and they were introduced last issue, and they kind of get taken down pretty easily here. Right alongside Eggman's fight with the Justice League, we've got Sonic and his buddies dealing with the Metal Legion, and initially they're having troubles because they're meant, the Metal Legion are built specifically to counter their sort of equivalent abilities, essentially. Even right down to, Metal Sinestro being yellow, so it interferes with Silver's Green Lantern ring. So it's an immediate problem for all of them. But they come upon the age-old answer to this particular thing that I've seen in, I don't even know how many shows and movies and whatnot at this point, where Tails just suggests, hey, if they're meant specifically to exploit the weaknesses of each individual hero, what if we just switched opponents? Because, Metal Gizmo is not made to counter Wonder Woman or whatever. So they swap their opponents and are able to take down the Metal Legion with very little fanfare. Knuckles is able to do it on his own without swapping because he got matched up against Metal Manta, who was meant for fighting Aquaman, who's not here, so he didn't struggle at all. But everybody else is able to take down their swapped partners pretty easily. And the one that kind of upsets me the most is this issue introduces a brand new one to counter Shadow, Metal Nightfall, who frankly is cool as hell. Metal Nightfall is one of the sickest things I think I've ever seen, and one, I love the name. It's a reference to the Batman Nightfall arc from the 90s, where Bane broke Batman's back and he was out of commission for a while, and Azrael took over as Batman, and Metal Nightfall is not so subtly based off of that incredibly goofily aggressively 90s costume that I love to death. When Metal Nightfall got shown off as part of the preview pages, I was all in, and I still am. This is a really cool design, but it's kind of a waste. There is the one page that introduces Metal Nightfall with Eggman doing another cute nod to Nightfall itself, where he tells Metal Nightfall to break Shadow over his knee, because Bane did that to Batman in Nightfall, which is a moment I've actually referenced before in a previous video. But after that, Metal Nightfall is only seen in one other small panel, while everybody else is fighting their Metal Legion counterparts. And then one more time when it's shown that Shadow just completely annihilated it off-screen, which is a little frustrating, because, I mean, Metal Nightfall is cool, and I wanted to see more of it. And yeah, we've only got 5 issues. This is the 4th one, and we do kind of need to speed things up, but given that the series is named after the Metal Legion, it feels like they're kind of an afterthought, really, because, like I said, they were introduced last issue, and they had a pretty good showing, taking out the Legion of Doom, being presented as a formidable threat, and even standing up to Sonic and friends for, a chunk of this issue. But overall, they had the one fight and then pretty much got destroyed, and it feels like a waste. I really feel like the Metal Legion should have been introduced sooner. It would sort of probably have necessitated rewriting the whole story, because, I mean, the Metal Legion were Eggman's, trump card when the Legion of Doom decided to turn on him. So I don't know how, with the current story structure, they could have set it up, but it just feels like they should have been there earlier so we could have seen them do more. And that's kind of my main complaint with this issue, is a lot of the stuff that I praised from the previous one is now gone. The Metal Legion are super cool. They're destroyed. They don't exist anymore, unless they get rebuilt for the final issue, but I kind of doubt it. Eggman gets to be a legit threat by completely flexing on the Legion of Doom and showing that he's an actual formidable foe. He does still get a lot of that. Again, he goes hand-to-hand with Superman and isn't, obliterated into paste, but he is completely taken care of by the end of this issue, or at least for the most part anyway. He does attempt to get away after the League managed to best him when they combine their efforts, but they catch him out in space pretty quickly and stop him from dropping the Doom Egg down onto Earth. But he's captured, he's wrapped up in the lasso of truth, and Lex and the rest of the Legion of Doom have sort of taken back the role of the big players in the villain team for this. Which, I mean, I like Lex, I like the rest of the Legion of Doom, and I'm glad to see, they weren't completely thrown out of the story after Eggman took over. But again, it just feels like having Eggman show that he's a legit threat again lasted for a very short amount of time comparatively, and I wish we'd gotten to see more of it. Like I said, my big problem with this issue is that it feels like the really cool stuff from the last issue that I really liked got taken care of. It's gone now. It does not ruin the issue, to be clear. I still think it is a fun read. The action, the fight between Eggman and the League and Sonic and the Metal Legion, and the little bits we do get to see of Metal Nightfall, they're all really, really good. It's great moments overall, like individually, but within the context of the whole story and the things that I enjoyed about the previous issue and that I was really looking forward to maybe seeing in the future, it just feels like it was over a little too quickly, and that was a problem I had with the original crossover too. We do still have one more issue here, but the original crossover, the final issue, felt like it wrapped everything up just a little bit too fast. Like there should have been one more issue, so it was 6 instead of 5, and I kind of feel like that is the case here for Metal Legion. I'll reserve full judgment for, until issue 5 comes along, but I feel like it could have done with one more issue and in between showing more of the Metal Legion actually being a direct threat to Sonic and friends, and Eggman continuing to be, an actual big bad. But I don't know, it's not a deal breaker. It doesn't ruin the story, but as far as this particular individual issue goes, that's my complaint about it, is that it feels like these really cool things were, run through just a little bit too quickly. But I can get past that because the process of getting through them quickly, I guess, is still really cool. Again, great fight scene. We still have some fun character interactions. Again, there's the break him over your knee that Eggman says. Eggman being so thoroughly, ready and certain that he can take down the League, and kind of being correct. If they hadn't thought to all work their abilities in through together to take him down, then Eggman probably would have won, or at least, won that fight anyway. So it doesn't completely dismantle showing Eggman as a legit threat. It's just that the old storytelling thing of the villain has to lose, and we got to the point where Eggman has to lose. I just kind of wish there had been a little more of him being the top dog of the story, as it were. And I don't know, maybe if they had done that, it would have slowed down the pace of the story. It would have felt like maybe an issue before this, just showing Eggman continuing to do villain things, might have felt like padding. So it's complicated, and it's why I have mixed feelings, because I still enjoyed this, but I was hoping for more of the Metal Legion. I was hoping, especially once we saw Metal Nightfall in the preview pages, I was really hoping for a lot more of that, and there just isn't, unless, again, they get rebuilt for the final issue, but I sort of doubt it. And this issue also does bring in a thing that felt like it's gotten very little focus thus far, that being the rest of the crossover characters that we're supposed to be getting here. We finally get to catch back up with Rouge and Catwoman, who mostly just kind of do a little bit of exposition to say that the Lex Egg Gates are not actually completely harmless. Who could have possibly seen that coming? But they get a little bit of just friendly banter. Batman calls in to ask what their status is, and Catwoman complains that it's always business. Rouge asks why she puts up with it, and amusingly, Catwoman gives like a legit reason by saying that the earnest wholesomeness that he has is surprisingly charming, and then she's also very blunt by saying that he's rich, and that's one of the reasons, which is pretty funny. Again, I wish we had seen more of, Rouge and Catwoman interacting. That was a big highlight of issue 2, like I said in that one, and we only get a little bit of it here. I imagine we will maybe get some in the final issue. Plus, they do get a really cool moment where Lex, forces his way into the thing, and he's like, "Oh, how about I tell you now how completely screwed you are, because I can come in and I have total control over the gates, and you have no way to get to me. You don't know where I am. I've got Eggman beaten because I counted on the League doing it, and now everybody else is in space, so me and the Legion are free to do whatever." And Catwoman is just like, "Yeah, I know exactly your location because I was a member of the Legion, and Rouge got the information of where his little secret base was going to be too." So even when Lex is winning again in this, he still kind of gets egg on his face, and he's met with the arrival of the B Team, the rest of the crossover characters, Aquaman and Big, and Superwoman, or Supergirl, and Cream, and Blaze, and Starfire. Also, Crypto and Cheese. And it felt like this might have been, earlier on anyway, it felt like this team might have been more of the focus this time around. Like that might be what they were going to do. And then that was not the case. They were in one panel last issue, and then now they're right at the end of this one. But next time, for the final issue, we'll be seeing them, fight Lex and the rest of the Legion of Doom. So we're still progressing, and I'm excited to see the rest of this, but it feels like there's a lot of elements as of this issue that the series was planning to do something with or wanted to do something with, but in only 5 issues, you really don't have a lot of time to do something like that. If you really wanted to focus on this B team, as it were, they kind of needed to be there right from the get-go, at least from issue 2, and that the story just did not play out that way. And again, I feel like, it just needed to be a little bit longer to compare to the Archie crossovers. Worlds Collide and Worlds Unite were both 12 parts, so with all of the characters they had in that, you still had, all that time to show off everybody and breathe. And I feel like, I don't know if this needed to be 12 parts spread across, multiple books or whatever, but a couple more I think would have helped be able to show off some more of those elements, set up a little bit more of these particular characters and their team-ups, just to see them, organizing this Team B thing with Rouge and Catwoman. So yeah, that is kind of my main, thought process for this issue, is that it is still pretty good, but I think it's my least favorite. It's probably pretty solidly my least favorite of Metal Legion thus far. Maybe my least favorite across the DC and Sonic crossovers. And that's not to say that it is terrible. It's still fun to go through. It just feels like it's showing the limits of only getting 5 issues, where there's a lot of elements that just aren't getting the focus that they really deserve. As far as the artwork goes, however, that is exactly as good as it has been the entire time. 4th verse, same as the first 3. Adam Bryce Thomas on pencils, Matt Herms on colors, and it's incredible. There's a lot of really, really good panels in this. I love the first page of, the 2 teams rushing at each other, the fight between Sonic and Friends and the Metal Legion. That first showing of Metal Nightfall is incredible. Again, there's that 2-page spread of Eggman punching Superman. It's all really, really good. I really enjoy Black Manta's sort of eyes, his lenses like flaring almost like flames right before Team B shows up with Aquaman and everything, and he goes, "Finally!" I haven't really mentioned it, but almost every moment with Black Manta in this series has been him just talking about how he's really jonesing to fight Aquaman, that he's only doing this to fight Aquaman, he doesn't really give a shit about anything else that's happening with the Legion of Doom, and it's just a good payoff to that, where he's like, yes, I can finally fight Aquaman, and to my understanding, that tracks pretty well with Black Manta as a character. That's just kind of his goal, is I really want to beat the shit out of that Aquaman guy. And shout out to the return of absolutely shredded Wonder Woman. Oh my god. So yeah, that is pretty much it. All I really have to say for Metal Legion issue 4. Pretty good overall. I still enjoyed it, but I've got my mixed feelings. I wish the Metal Legion had lasted a little longer. I wish we'd gotten to see Eggman continue to be the main bad guy for a little bit, but when you're constrained just to 5 issues, there's really only so much you can do, and this series did introduce a lot of elements that it needs to juggle within a pretty limited amount of time. So I'm a little disappointed by those things getting passed over so quickly, but it doesn't completely ruin it, and I am still excited for the final issue. I just worry it might, repeat the trend of the first crossover, where the ending just feels like it wraps things up a little too quickly. But we will cross that bridge when we get there. For now, again, good issue overall. It's one of the weaker showings, but I mean, a weaker showing for DCX Sonic is still pretty good, in my opinion. That's going to be it from me. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you guys next time.